In this video, we'll go over all of the skills needed for you to complete the Design and Digital Art 1 photo mashup assignment. I have saved in a folder 3 images that I found on Google Classroom. I'll double click and open that folder. First, I'll open up an example of what you will see, or what you will make rather, once you complete this tutorial. Open it up in Photoshop. Your goal for this project is to creatively and uniquely take one thing, one image, and then combine it with another image to create something new. So I have created a shark with people teeth, and this is again what we'll get when we're finished going through these different Photoshop skills. Next, I'll open up my shark image in Photoshop. And I will open up my teeth image in Photoshop. Open with Adobe Photoshop. I'll start with my shark image because, as we see here in the finished product, the shark image is beneath the teeth image. So we'll start and then later build the teeth on top. First thing I want to do is figure out how large this is. So we go image, image size. And this is a really bizarre image size, which sometimes happens when you download things from the internet. This is one of the many reasons why you want to check the image size first. We want to think end goal. If I were to print this out, how large would I want it to hang on my wall? We don't really want to go above 11 inches by 14 inches for printing means because of printing costs and printing ability at Chaska High School. So the width, I'm going to type in 10. My height then is 5.625. You always want the height to change with the width. And then the resolution I'm going to bring up to 300. So the original image, it was very large in the inches, but the resolution was only 4 pixels per inch. So we'll say OK, and then zoom out here. Control minus minus or Control plus to zoom in and to zoom out. And I'm going to save this. It says that I can't, so I'm going to say File, Save As, and then I'll title it Shark Photo Mashup, and save as type. I will choose a Photoshop document.psd, and you should be saving this in your student folder. It's important to save frequently. All right, the next thing that we want to do is check the size of the teeth image. I know, what a lovely photograph for you to look at first thing in the morning. And we'll go image, image size, and bring up the resolution to 300. The width of the shark was 10. If we look at, well, I'll just go over here for a second. If we know that this length right here is 10, and then this is about 5.625, I believe. The mouth is going to be relatively small. So we don't have to size this that large. Again, image, image size. We're going to bring down the width. Let's bring down the width to like 3, the height at 2, and then the resolution at 300. This got substantially smaller, so I'll go Control plus to zoom in because the next thing that I'll want to do is start selecting the mouth off from the rest of the face. Again, if we look at the end goal, we only have the mouth here, not the rest of the face. Photoshop has many different selection tools. We'll use a couple in this demonstration, and throughout Design and Digital Art 1, you will learn more and get more familiarized with them. I'm going to go over to my left-hand toolbar, click the 4th tool down. This is my quick selection tool. You'll notice, like any other tool, that there are more options at the top left-hand corner, or this toolbar up here in Photoshop. I want to add to my selection. Currently there's no selection, so I'll click my brush tool with the plus, and it helps to zoom in even a little bit more. And I will just click and let go, click and drag and let go in little increments to select the mouth. And what Photoshop is doing is it is finding barriers, or like color barriers, between parts of the image. So this quick selection tool works really well if the object or area of your photograph that you're trying to select is chromatically or color-wise different than the areas around it. This doesn't always work. Sometimes you'll have to manually select with the lasso tool. The reason why I'm clicking and pressing like this is because if I just click and hold and drag, if accidentally I go beyond my selection like this, I can just hit Control Z, which is edit undo. So if I do it in little increments, I don't lose my whole selection. If there's areas that I've kind of gone over a little bit, I can click my brush minus, and I can adjust my brush size here by hitting my left bracket key, which is to the right of the P button or P key on your keyboard, to make my brush smaller, and then my right bracket key to make it larger. And I can come in and clean up my selection just a little bit. If you're having difficulty, try zooming in, Control +++, to get the mouth as large as I have it on the screen. It does help if you're having issues with selections to get the image as large as you can. This looks okay for now. It's kind of choppy, and this next tool that we'll use kind of makes the difference between an amateur selection and a realistic looking selection. With my selection tool, my quick selection highlighted over here, I'll look up to the top where it says select and mask. I'll click select and mask, and I have a lot of different options here. It shows my selection, which is my mouth, against what I've selected it from, so the background. I can choose a different view mode if I want. I personally like to choose overlay or onion skin. Onion skin will give you kind of like a 50% opacity of the background, and the overlay will give you a bright reddish color. It just depends on how it makes the most sense to you. I want to smooth out this selection here to make it look a little bit more realistic. I can click down here, edge detection, and click smart radius, and I'll activate the smart radius and bump it up a little bit. Now we're letting Photoshop choose what it thinks that we want to do. Be mindful of doing this instead of manually choosing, and then just ask yourself, is the changes you're making helping, or is it making your piece look less realistic? So that looks okay here. Next, I'll go over to my Refine Edge brush tool all the way on the left. It's the second brush down here, and I'll just click and then paint around my edges. And that helps to refine my edge. This is especially helpful if you have, if you're trying to make a realistic selection with hair, like a hair on a person's head or a mane of a lion or whatnot. And then you just brush in between the edges, and it will get you a more realistic selection. If you have made a mistake and you would like to go back to the plus and the minus of the quick selection tool but don't want to get rid of this Refine Edge dialog box, you can click up at the top, and then this is your Refine Edge tool. So if you want to just go and select more, or if you want to select less, you can do that within the Refine Edge tool. So, just kind of refine this a little bit more, get it the best that I can, and we're going to take one more step so that even if we don't have it perfect, we can smooth it out again. This is called non-destructive editing, which is what makes Photoshop so great. You have many chances of fixing or changing or refining something. I'll click my output settings down here, and then check decontaminate colors. That will change my output to a new layer with a layer mask. We want to be working with layer masks. That's one of the techniques that I want you to take away from this assignment. I'll say OK. And now if I look at my layers panel, I still have my background layer. So if I had messed up on this, I didn't like how it looked, for example, I could go and delete it and start over by checking the visibility here. We'll keep it unchecked for now. And then above, I have a layer mask right here. and the layer mask shows in white what is selected from the original picture, and then in black what is deselected or hidden from the original picture. Now, I'll take a look around the edges, and I don't like how, I want to clean some areas up. So if I click on the layer mask, I can start to paint away or hide some of those pixels that I don't want seen. This is a lot better than just going onto the original image and using an eraser tool, because if you make a mistake, you can bring it back very easily. So with my layer mask selected, you can see the white bounding box around the layer mask. I'll click my paintbrush tool, and then I'm going to look at my foreground and background colors. Now, if you're working on a layer mask, these are no longer white and black. They stand for something else. White means add, bring back my original image, and black means take away. So right now, I don't really want to add anything back. I don't want to add any of her skin back or anything like that. I kind of want to take away some of these edges. So with this bent arrow tool, I'll click that once to bring black to my foreground color. My black square is overlapping my white square. Black means take away. I'll click my brush and then look up at my tool options for brush. I'm going to bring my opacity down to about 50% or a little bit less. I can make my brush tool bigger by either clicking up here and then dragging the size up, or using my bracket keys. Now, if I just start painting with my black square on front on the layer mask, you'll start to notice that I can kind of get rid of some of that fuzziness. I'll zoom in. I can also change the hardness of the brush. My brush is very soft right now. I can bring the hardness up to make, my edge a little bit more defined. It just depends on what you're working on. So I'm painting away here. I'm even going to bring that brush edge, that hardness up a little bit more. I like to bring my opacity down so that I have a little bit more control. Changes happen more slowly, and I think that the overall result is a little bit more believable. I won't do the entire thing right now because I think I've given you enough to understand. Let's say I make a mistake and I erase through my mouth. If we were just using an eraser tool and you didn't notice this right away, it would be very, very hard to go back and change. But even if you just kept erasing here, and noticed it later, you could flip your bent arrow key here to get white as the foreground. White, again, means add back. I could bring up my opacity to 100% and then just paint that back in. So again, black is take away, and then white is add. There we go. And right now, I'm going to save the selection. I'll say File, Save As, and I'll say Teeth for Shark Photo Mashup, and save it in the same folder as my Shark Photo Mashup. In the next video, I'll show you how to drag this over, work more with layer masks, and create a believable Photoshop composite.